All right, I got to work on my transitions, but this is the first cut. So today I'm going to do the first of what I'm hoping will be a bunch of fun podcasts with different guests. Um, at home, I'm not allowed to talk about human design a whole lot because it's too much for my wife at times, and I can appreciate that. So I'm always looking for new dudes to talk to about human design and this science of differentiation, which I just heard that phrase last week and I love it. But um, I have paid for probably 8 readings over the last year and a half, and it's getting expensive. So my new tactic is to just pull in readers and have them teach me on the spot while we nerd out about human design. So today I'm going to bring on. How long have I known Amanda? I'm going to bring her on first. Amanda, come on.
Hello.
Morning. I
I
met you. Oh, go ahead.
in March, maybe?
No, it was in the summer because I was in Paris when you did my reading, and I was on the upper level of a bus driving through Paris trying to hear you desperately. And you were probably the fifth or sixth person that gave me a reading. I've been aware of your stuff for at least 2 years. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but like I got into your stuff because of all the YouTube video editing stuff that you do. And then I went through this big experience where human design was introduced, but also the Enneagram. And you were talking about Enneagram, and I'm like, wow, this dude's like on the same wavelength as me. And because human design I initially rejected, like too weird, too much. And then when I started getting into it, it was like, sure enough, you were as well. And I was like, we're like in sort of this parallel path. So yeah, so here we are, dude. Before I introduce what we're planning to do today, which is something that might be a theme, why don't you just give everyone else a bit of a background about you and where you're at?
Absolutely. So I'm Amanda Horvath. I started my YouTube channel in 2018 when I was desperately trying to escape the time for money trap of running on the hamster wheel. And I was a videographer, professional videographer, saw an opportunity to really teach people how to use their phones to create videos, which at the time was innovative. It is no longer. So it's very obvious these days. So I started my YouTube channel with that opportunity to help business owners create videos without breaking the bank or taking up tons of their time. And then in May of 2020, I discovered human design. And I had just transitioned into being a full-time course creator in 2020, in January of 2020, which was a complete splenic authority move. Like we'll get into the nerdiness of the human design, but like one of the things that I think is so fascinating about human design is your authority. When you really tap into the wisdom of your body, it's like it guides you before you even know that you're needing to go somewhere. And so with this desire that I had to start a YouTube channel, it started in 2018 to set me up for 2020 when I, as a videographer, would have had no work, right? No in-person work. And so I had just transitioned fully to the course business in January of 2020. In May of 2020, during my second launch, or weeks before my second launch, I had my first human design reading. And I was blown away. Like I describe it as saying hello, and then that person just described my entire life story. Mm-hmm. And I immediately dove deep. Like I was like, what is this? I need to know everything. Like you mentioned, I was already into the Enneagram, really into just personality tests in general. And finding out I was a projector, I realized, wow, like I feel really out of alignment with who I'm meant to be and how I'm showing up in the world. Mm-hmm. I was raised in a family of manifesting generators, and my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, and then my youngest sister is a generator. So, and then like even extended family are all generators, all, manifesting generators. I'm like, where are the projectors? Finally found them when I started looking into my friend group. But that really began a journey in May of 2020 to really move, like decondition from being a manifesting generator into stepping into that projector role fully. And it's been a massive transformation ever since. And now I'm really coming out finally after 3 years of going through my experiment to kind of help guide others on this experiment as well, because it is a radical transformation with lots of self-reflection and crisis and depth of despair that comes along with it.
Mhm. When you projectors are weird, as I said in a text the other day, like when you say like finding your authority, I get mine now that got sacral authority, but I have no idea what you mean by authority for you. So we might want to talk about that today too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Well, I think we'll probably talk about lots of things here. But what I want to try is a new concept I've been fooling around with some folks, which is basically presenting you, someone, an experienced human design reader. By the way, I just bumble, right? I'm a 3-5, I'm all over the place, and short attention span. So um, I'm always amazed by the depth of people just being able to recall a channel or a gate. I just know which ones feel right for me. Um, so what I want to do is present one today. We're calling this person the mystery meat sack, and I'll just share my screen here. So this is someone that you don't know this person. You will have heard of this person for sure. And let me just get rid of my little caption here. And one thing that you pointed out as soon as you saw it was it's kind of similar to mine in a lot of ways. And I did not think about that when I started this. This was just like, this would be an interesting person to discuss. And then when I actually dug it up this morning, I was like, oh my, there's some certain similarities there. So I'd be interested to hear what you've got to say about that. But here's the idea. Let's give ourselves 10 or 15 minutes where, in a typical reading when you're working with someone, kind of walk through some of the process. And I'll try to stay out of your way mostly. I tend to interrupt, so I'll be on my best behavior. But just tell me something. Tell me some things about this person or what they might be like, their behavior, their needs, their fears, and then I'll make sure to reveal afterwards, and we'll make sure we keep some time to discuss, this unknown with this now known.
Yeah. So we're looking at a manifesting generator, just like you, right? A very powered up manifesting generator with the full integration circuit, which is that area 2057, 3410, all of those gates being activated. That is the integration circuit, as well as the full centering circuit, which is very rare to have that. So the 1034 as well as the 2551, that's the centering circuit.
Right.
So to have all of those is very unique.
Hmm.
So this person walks into a room and they definitely have a presence. Like they are going to be a very dominant energy that is going to impact those around them. Like if this person came up around me, like they would light me up, as someone that has only 2 centers defined. They are someone at the same, like while they have this energy, they also, and we can dive into, I'll just do it really quick. They have like a very strong penetrating awareness in the moment of how to behave to match who they're around, like how to fit in to wherever they are. They're very principled. They have a certain way of like they're not going to compromise their principles. They're going to stick to them. They're going to be aggravated by other people that are going to push against their principles and be very outspoken about it. They're also someone that's going to go their own way, do their own thing, follow their convictions. Incredibly powerful energy that is fueling their identity, fueling how they communicate with the world. Incredibly intuitive as well as, and also naturally competitive, having a defined ego. Like they are someone that is designed to be first. They are going to go out and make it happen, like whatever that is. They're going to have shocking experiences in their life and be able to withstand those shocking experiences. But by doing so, by going and carving that path, they're going to turn around and inspire a lot of other people to do the same. They're also very structured, likely in their ways. they have a certain rhythm for how they move through the day. It can show up differently for everyone. This is that 515 channel that's coming in, the channel of rhythm.
Hmm.
It has a certain, yeah, the drummer one that you've been focused on lately, like the rhythm, a
Well,
certain
mine, sorry,
flow.
mine came in Chiron, right? So I didn't
Right, your
even,
game in Chiron. Yes,
yeah.
exactly. My dad, my sister, my stepdad, my brother all have this channel. My dad and my stepdad also have the 1034 as well as my husband. So I'm very familiar with those energies and how they show up. Um, it's when this person is in a group, people are going to get pulled into their flow. Like they're naturally, people are just going to have to eat when this person eats, take breaks when this person take breaks,
Hmm.
and whatnot. I think they'll kind of form that rhythm. They're also a leader, but they're kind of a leader from behind. So even though they have like all this energy that's very strong and active, and they're conscious of it, that 3313, as you know, um, is the channel of the prodigal. It's a leader that is more sitting in the back seat, uh, listening to the secrets of those that are sharing the secrets, and being able to see things that, or really hear things that other people don't. And because of that, they're able to um, get things in motion to really move the group forward.
Huh.
Uh, Incredibly talented with that channel of talent, but they're unconscious of it. They have like this depth to them. That 1648.
Well,
That
that's the channel you're talking about.
mhm.
Okay. Hmm.
um,
Interesting.
they have like a feeling of inadequacy, that like a depth of inadequacy that they go and they fill with information, because they feel like it's yeah, it's the well, that they need to have water in that well, so that when people come to them and they want to drink from their wisdom, they have something to share. So they have to constantly fill that well of information so that they can really like overcome that fear of inadequacy that they have, and then also be able to have the power skills to be able to like bring it into life. Or yeah, I think I forget what the gate 16. I know it's gate of. I don't think it's, maybe it's power skills in their Saturn. I don't know. But at the same time, this person has a completely open head and solar plexus. So they're going to be pulled to solve everyone else's problems for them. They're going to be constantly seeking inspiration. They're going to be feeling like everyone else has the answers that they don't have. Um, Very avoidant of, potentially avoidant of their truth, and wanting to kind of walk on eggshells, not to disturb the waters. And that might pull them away from that very strong sacral life force energy that they have fueling the rest of their chart. If they're going to walk on eggshells, they're not going to fully embody. They might be the disempowered version of themselves versus the empowered version of themselves. So how this person was conditioned growing up and whatnot might impact that. They also have the gate of opinions in their earth, unconscious earth, which is 17, gate 17, which I think is funny because whenever, like, I have a friend, this is his sun sign, and he's just constantly like giving very strong opinions and trying to prove that he's certain about something. And it's like, it's just like this thing where he'll be like, no, sugar is good. Let me explain to you why sugar is good. So this person likes, they have opinions and they want to share those opinions. And sometimes they can get pulled off track when they have to prove that they're certain about those opinions, because they don't have the details to back up those opinions. They're just opinions.
Hmm.
And being unconscious of that as well.
Okay,
Um,
so I gotta interrupt you for a second because A,
yep.
I know who this person is, and so many things. I'm like, yep, oh wow, yep, and I don't know this person personally whatsoever either, right? I just what I know of this public person, but so far it's bang on the money. Um, that's interesting, and I noticed a couple like more similarities to me too. Like my Pluto is 46, design and personality. Mine's 46 4 in detriment for both, and that's been an interesting ride recently, just figuring out what that meant for me. But yeah, the similarities are here are crazy. Is gate 26 is the gate of sales too, right? Like you're selling concepts, selling
It's the
ideas.
egoist. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's but it is the salesman. Yeah. One explanation that I've heard Raw explain about it, which I loved. So I have 44 in my chart, which is the opposite side of the 26. That's kind of more the marketer. 26 is more the salesman. And so he gives this example where he's like, there's someone that was just fishing and he's in the bar and he's talking about his fish that he caught. And he's like, they were this big. And then a 44 walks in the room and his hands go like this. Because the 44 just calls out the bullshit of the 26. But we need those like people to, really exaggerate things to really move the tribe forward and make the sale. The salesman is the person that's like, the grass is dying. It's in the tribal circuitry, right? It's like we've run out of food. There's nowhere for us to eat. Like we must, the tribe has to survive. So we have to convince everyone in the tribe to move across the mountain in the middle of winter to get to the other side to survive. So they have to be the salesman to like sell and exaggerate. The grass is greener on the other side.
That's awesome. I almost want to reveal who the person is, but maybe I'll let you
Go
go
for
a
it.
bit longer. So, or what would you like to do? Because we could also talk about this person once we know. But well, actually,
I'd be
maybe
curious, like the love of humanity is a big thing for this person as well. The gate 15 in his earth, love of self, in gate 10. So it'd be interesting to see how that shows up or manifests, all about correcting things and that unconscious gate 18 and the gate of opinions. So
hmm.
I'm not great with the crosses, but those four would make up the whatever cross this person has. So
Oh, we
love
could
of
maybe
self, love of humanity,
that would be
correcting
cross of
things.
prevention, which I don't know, I haven't read about, but
Yeah, I mean, that's such a deep layer that like I I've been so stuck in the gates that my line one hasn't made me move forward just yet on that.
well, let's just. Some of these are usually pretty short. Where is
Yeah,
this?
they are.
Okay, so this person, as the cross of prevention, you speak from a place of love and caution, guiding others to prevent following patterns or paths where they might get hurt. Though your goal is to lovingly help others to avoid a negative experience, your guidance will not always be welcome. Make sure you follow your human design type and strategy, and most of the time, this energy will be fully accepted by the recipient. Very, very interesting. Okay, do you want to talk a bit more, or
Yeah, I mean, I also, I guess the last thing too is like, I mean, there's a lot of things, but the love of humanity also goes with the gate of extremes. There's like whenever someone has I think that 10 and 15 are interesting energies because 10, I think, is like one of the most selfish gates, they say,
hmm,
because it's the love of self, but it's like it's the whole put your own oxygen mask on first. That whole integration circuit is, and then gate 15 is extremes because you're extreme. You got to trust everyone else's extremes, or you got to value everyone else's extremes. So yeah, let's reveal it. I'm curious. Who is it?
that's interesting. Well, then that 10 too. I've been my last year and a half's been about self care, like because I did none. I was just a people pleaser and was killing myself, so it became so important to get a hold of that. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Is this him? Oh, sorry, it's a him.
I'm also terrible with like pop culture, so
Yeah, it's all right. So,
but
yeah, it's let me
Justin
just
Trudeau.
right. So, do you know who that is? It's
I
okay.
like I said, I'm terrible. Like I know the name. Is this the guy that went to prison for his beliefs of
No, he's the Prime
no.
Minister of Canada. So he's,
Oh, that's hilarious. See,
but
I'm
that's
so
okay
bad at
because
pop
like,
culture.
right. But okay, so let's bring him back on here. Actually, we'll rename him now too.
Justin Trudeau. See, yeah, I'm not gonna know anything about him.
But that's good. That's why this is interesting because I don't
I'm
know
like the
I don't
least
know him.
political person in the world. My husband could run circles around anyone, but not me.
Well, maybe so if your husband follows politics, maybe have him watch this because I thought your analysis there was at least bang on from what I know of this person, right? And this person, I don't. Well, if you don't really know him, like his dad was prime minister for like 15 or 20 years, so he's like actually, it's kind of like a George Bush situation, father and son kind of thing. So there's a lot of folks that would refer to him as having a silver spoon in his mouth and all of this privilege. But the interesting thing is this guy has stayed in during COVID when he's got the money. He could just be like, check you later. I'm going to go live on an island. And instead kind of puts himself through the ringer every day. He's getting slammed in the press. And I'm neither for nor against at all, but my heart bleeds for him. And now that I've seen similar design in him and me, I'm like, okay, yeah, that would be punishing. So maybe that defined will center helps him where I might have bailed. I probably would have been out and said,
Yeah, the
you guys
ability
figure
to
it out.
withstand shock, and
Mm-hmm.
he's driven by it. Gate 51. That was
Yeah,
Raw's sign.
yeah. So it's just super interesting. Like I kind of forgot half of what, or I didn't forget, but like there was little light bulbs going off. Where it's like, yep, I could totally see that. But the 3313, like people just come up and sharing secrets. Like I wonder, are other world leaders like just like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but Area 51 is the real deal, right? Like it could be that kind of things that he's hearing that other people wouldn't hear. Um, Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have that. I have 33. I don't have 13. And 33 is my unconscious sun. So it's a big part of my energy. But like, I don't know what the secrets, like sometimes it's just like someone confiding in you about their life, like sharing about whatever it is that they're going through rather than like massive secrets. It's like, oh my God, I don't know why, but I'm telling you this, but I don't usually tell people this, right? It's like that energy.
Hmm. Or I can hear, and I think it's partly the 50. I think it's 57 plus that 13. I can hear in someone's voice, like they'll speak a sentence, but there'll be one word that their voice wobbles on. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I picked up on that, and then I ask questions, and then out comes, like lately, like, oh, you're so intuitive, and I think it's really that plus that listener. I'm just soak that in. So it's turning into be a bit of a superpower actually, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. 57 is one of those that I wish I had in my chart. Like the 5720 connects my energy because I only have the channel of struggle. It's like, but I can't verbalize the struggle. I can't talk about the purpose of meaning in life. It's just like I try and I fail.
Mm,
57 gives you that ability, that insight to like bring it out, and 20 obviously combined. But yeah.
yeah, 5710. I'm pretty sure is my right ear ringing. It's usually like something big's coming. There's usually a little ring, and then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like I can actually almost time the synchronicities around it. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I discovered that. Did I tell you about that? Probably not. So I was a drummer and just assumed I had poor hearing, and because of beating drums for 40 years. But turns out I just wasn't listening, or at least was listening to add value. And once I kind of
Mm.
worked through that, that was interesting. Um, but I also then one night I was having a solo mushroom trip, and I could hear my wife and son talking at the other end of the house downstairs through
Yeah,
three
you told me
doors,
that. That's
right?
crazy.
And I was like, they
But
were like
sorry,
in the next
say it
room.
for the audience, though.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I could hear things that I couldn't believe how good my hearing was, and that made me curious. So I got my ears candled. I started looking into the trauma around ears, and now my hearing's fantastic. But it took plant medicine to kind of go like, hey, buddy, it's not things aren't always what you think, right?
It can do that, right? That's why that's the
Mm-hmm.
power of plant medicine. Hey, I can see Elena Smith is here. Is anyone else in the comments? Let us know. Say hi. We're here. You
Oh yeah,
watching?
right. I forgot. That's right. Yeah. By the way, Elena is someone I want you to meet. She's another 1-4. And she's born a day later than me in a time zone different. So our designs are very similar.
She's a 4-1.
You're 4-1, sorry, yeah, 4-1. Because you're the only other
Yeah, me
4-1 I
too.
think I know at this point. Um,
And me.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so
I oddly know a lot of 4-1s. It's kind of fun.
it seems to be work that way, eh? I'm surrounded by 6-2s, and they're all judgy around me all the time, and I'm sitting there feeling wounded all the time. So
I love it. Elena's listening closely. It's
Yeah.
so funny. The 4-1, I was just watching a Richard Beaumont video the other day on the 4-1, and his thumbnail was smiles a lot.
Hmm.
I was like, that is hilarious. Like my whole life, people like, yeah, they always comment on my smile.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that. And with Elena, like, you're probably talking about the same video. It's an older one with his older clip art. I always remember that, but it was right out of PowerPoint or something. But he talked about like if you say something to a 4-1 and it is truth, their mouth will just like open with wonder. And once I heard that, the next time I was chatting with Elena, I was like testing it, and she'd be like, "Oh," and it was like real time, going like, "Wow, damn, that was one of those first clues of like, okay, something to this, right? I could
Yeah.
actually test the experiment." So,
I'd be curious if Elena, since you're in the chat, um, if you experience the fixed fate side of it. I think that part is a little confusing. I'm actually considering doing a podcast with like multiple 4-1s or like a live stream maybe, right? I'm like, let's talk about this because it's such a rare thing. And as you're
mhm.
reading the comments on Richard Beaumont's videos, it's like, I wish I knew other 4-1s. It's like, yep. Anyway,
Well, we could make that happen. Yeah, I could either facilitate that or straight up just give you her contact info. But
either
yeah, she's
way, yeah,
awesome. She's a very good friend of mine.
love it.
Um, where else should we go
Wait,
with this, or have we beaten this one to death? It's pretty interesting. Like he's a world leader on the world stage. He's he's only like a not even a year older than me, and our design in a lot of ways is very similar. So it's even just hearing your version of it and then imagining myself in his shoes was an interesting little journey as well.
yeah, and that means he's in his Chiron return if he's a year older than you.
Hmm.
So that's kind of big. And then it'd be aligning with that. I mean, to give us the lowdown, like explain, I can be the idiot that knows nothing about this person for others that are watching this. So
Well,
tell us
I'm
about
not
this
into
man.
politics at all either, and I don't follow the news. But what I will say is I get it. I get it, of course, all day, every day, secondhand, right? So
I,
he's been prime minister for a while now, probably 8 or maybe even going on 10 years. I don't know. Um, as I say, he's the son of a former very famous and what's the word? Oh, word escapes me, but basically, you either love him or hate him. It's definitely that kind of personality. Um, he he got in all sorts of trouble because of an old photograph when he was in college of wearing blackface. Like he was dressed in a costume, and of course that is just the camp that doesn't like him. That's just their go-to photo. Like you can't trust this person. Whereas it was a long time ago and sure inappropriate, but we didn't know stuff then. That's kind of what people are finding, right?
yeah,
So he's kind of getting crucified for old decisions. Meanwhile, he's trying to lead a country uh, into this mess that's going on post COVID, right? And trying to lead by example. Um, he definitely, I've noticed if he's got a teleprompter, he speaks clearly and with confidence. If he doesn't, he definitely fumbles around for words.
he probably doesn't
But
trust that intuition,
yeah,
like
yeah.
letting it speak naturally.
But I did see him once. I don't know where he was, and I think it was someone just asked him to speak. I think he was talking about quantum physics or something. But he just started explaining it like with huge depth, right? Like it was just, this is a guy that can speak intelligently about the things he knows about, and the things I've learned with my channels, because I have a lot of those channels, is yeah, keep your mouth shut if you don't have anything that isn't truly authentic. Like, don't just try to fill a space. Don't just try to add value. Um, so yeah, it's interesting just even thinking about
Is
him in that.
he is he the one that was like super strict on the vaccines during that whole? Was he prime minister then?
Oh, he was, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's the one in front of the decisions being made, right? He's the centerpiece. So, of
Yeah.
course, he gets a say in it, but I think we all know that the figurehead is really just there to say nice things to people to hear. And
Which could be that avoiding confrontation and truth part of it too,
mm-hmm,
you know? But yeah, I mean, that's interesting because the principles, like the 2010, and you have this too. Like, do you resonate with having very strong principles? Like,
100%. My
yeah.
core values are locked and loaded and exist as bumper stickers in my on my forehead. So
What are
um,
your core values?
uh, tell the truth. It's easier to remember. Um, Basically gets me out of a jam every time. Like, it's painful at the time, but it's well worth it. Start with why, which I stole from Simon Sinek. Like, just understanding why is important to me. Um, wow, where the other ones go?
Open head.
Yeah,
Open head. I
yeah.
feel you.
And subject to change. The tell the truth, it's easy to remember. That has never left me. Like that. That is just like cattle prodded. Surprised it's not a tattoo actually, but maybe it will be.
Hmm. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's a good
Mm-hmm.
one. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Where
If
do you want to
you're
go from here?
if you're into your why, start with why.
Mm-hmm.
Have you really dug into your moon by any chance? Actually, I have a question for you on this if you're open to it.
Sure. Should I pull up my Bodygraph, I guess, or
Yeah, pull up your body graph.
okay?
Because I just looked at your moon and saw that it's 32, line 1. And this 32 is my husband's. Oh, yeah, you have a fully open Ajna too. Um, is my husband's sun sign, and it is an interesting energy. And so this is like it's it's the fear of failure, but I think it can be what?
Not just. It's definitely one of my fares. Just right off the top. Yep.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because it's like, yeah, we all experience that. But like when you have it consistent in your chart, like when I talk about mine being like, because I have gate 28 as my sun sign, and it's like the fear of purposelessness. Like everyone experiences that. But when you have it, you experience it at such a different level so consistently. So your fear of failure is going to be really different, especially as a 3-5, right? It's kind of an interesting thing to have together. My husband has that too. But this one, 32, I've been trying to understand it a little bit more. So I'd be curious to hear your perspective. But it's like it's really because it's tribal, it's really the fear of failure in going extinct specifically. And there's like this element of like I have 54, I don't have 32. Um it's the way that it shows up for my husband is this energy of I can't believe other people don't see this. This is so wrong. Like there's all these bad things happening. Like it's very like conspiratorial in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like we need to be doing things differently so that we can actually like survive as a species and whatnot. And like a lot of like anger almost that comes with it. Of like the oppression in a way that can occur. And he doesn't have gate 47 for anyone that's listening. But I don't know. It's like staying in it for the long run because it's the gate of duration, but it's staying in it for the long run to like transform as a society, like knowing where we're going and what's going to happen and whatnot. Anyway, if any of that resonates, I'm curious because I'm trying to understand this energy a little bit more.
Uh, all of it. What did Richard Beaumont said? He said I'd be the person running through helping people, but saying this is so wrong. Like I'm just running, like we shouldn't be in this place in the first place. But I'll be one of the ones running through yelling that. I
Interesting.
definitely have tons of anarchist energy in me. So even as I think about this, it's funny that I chose Trudeau, like our country's leader. That wasn't my intent, but it's kind of funny now. Um, yeah, super interesting. I was talking to someone yesterday, a friend Marjorie, and she's deep in the experiment as well. And we were talking about feeling a feeling of responsibility to get this information out to people. So, and I think that's even part of why I want to do this. Why it made sense to actually like make it fun, make it like bring people on, experts like yourself that are, and by the way, like super cool
Learning
and
expert.
brave for you to just right, just be on the spot, being like, "Ta-da, dance monkey." But
Yeah, and I'm open to, like, I think that's the thing too, is with this information, like, there's such a humility that comes with it. Like, we were kind of chatting about this the other day, right? It's like
mhm,
there's such a layer. Like, someone that has been in human design for 20 years or whatever would look at what I say and like critique it to the nth degree, and I would agree with them. Tell me, but it is interesting because per our conversations, it's like if you keep it behind lock and key and only let people, like, anyone who's listening to this needs to know I've been in it for 3 years. That's my view of the world,
mhm,
Sean we've both taken all the foundational classes, um, but we're not 20 years into this.
mm-mm.
And
Yeah,
that's okay.
and we're viewing it from our own perspective and filter and how we learn. Again, like the number of projectors that seem to know this knowledge so deeply, like somehow you folks are able to focus and remember this stuff. I can't remember any of it, so I just remember it by feel or like a memory. Like I.
Yeah, but if you wanted to, like, I think the cool thing, first off, you just graduated from the 3 foundational classes. When did you start them?
8 months ago, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
last summer. Last
I
summer.
didn't really get to, like, fully understand, especially with you being quad left and needing to repeat things, like, you're gonna have a tendency not to want to do that. I'm quad right, right? So
Mhm.
I'm the opposite, and they describe it as like a piece of paper that when you fold it together, the 2 edges touch. So while we're the opposite spectrums, there's actually a transference where you will go quad right and I will go quad left. So I
Hmm.
become hyper structured and wanting to repeat things and study things, while you become very out there and more like just absorb it like a sponge and just let the information soak in, right? Which I think is interesting. But if you, like, as you look at different charts and as you learn like, I mean, look how many things you have. Like, if you know 31-7, 1-8, 33-13, 46-29, and all of your channels, like, if you learn just what those are, you
Hmm.
already know how many channels, 10 channels or whatever that you have in the
12.
chart out of
Yeah.
36.
Yeah.
So once you learn one, that's the beautiful thing about human design, is like it's complex, and yet you only have to learn the chart and then
Hmm.
you can read any chart.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're here. You're basically training me on the spot as well. And that's why I'm going to repeat this with other people too. It's my koi technique for learning and making the
And you're
time fun.
doing it.
So
It's exciting. It's
yeah,
happening,
yeah,
you know?
cool. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, that 32. That's super interesting. Um, yeah, when I went for that weekend 2 years ago and had my mind blown open, the fellow said beforehand, we'd done a whole questionnaire and stuff. But what nailed it for me, and I was like, okay, I'm going. Is he said, well, I think you suffer from both fear of failure and a fear of success at the same time. And to me, that completely resonated. I was like, and it still was coming up as even procrastination as recently as a couple of days ago. And then I was talking to Mel Harris, and funny enough, by synchronicity, Leanne Wolf posted a video the other day too, talking about the difference between perfection and she was suggesting the word excellentism. And as soon as I heard that in this other conversation, everything like clicked for me. So perfection is usually someone else's definition of what you need to be, and excellentism is just striving to be better and better every day, right? And I
Mhm.
like that. Just improve by 1% every day. You can improve way more than trying to be perfect. And then who gets to define what perfect is, right? So that was like a huge. So that it'll be interesting to see dig more into that 32 and the fear of failure. But like I feel like I'm turned a corner on that, and it manifested in my life as procrastination, just fear of actually taking next steps. So hmm.
Hmm. That's interesting.
which is why we're doing
Yeah.
this live because it's super uncomfortable. I'm sitting here like slightly jittery and want to get up and grab a coffee or something, and just sitting patiently and quietly instead.
Well, you're doing it. You can't tell. When you watch it back, you'll be like, wow, I look so calm. That's the
Mm.
cool thing about video. Um, I can guarantee that I'll have the jitters when I go live at 1 p.m. today. Like I haven't done it in a while. It's just me. It's one thing if we're talking, It's like, oh shoot, I gotta like fill the air. Like, what am I gonna say? I don't even know. But when you watch it back, it's like, wow, no one can feel what I'm feeling in that moment. And then there's like a freeingness to that,
Hmm.
where it's like, oh, because no one can feel it, I can let go of the nerves. I don't know, like. And then they also say, I heard this from Marie Forleo. If you feel the nerves, if you just like actually allow it to like fully run through your body versus try to control it, then it'll release within 3 seconds. But if you try to hold on to it, it stays.
Mm.
It's kind of like if you're in a deep plant medicine experience. It's like you have to sometimes get through a certain scary room in order to get out the other side. But if you don't allow yourself to move through it, you stay there.
Hmm. That's interesting. Um, I have that 3420, and Justin has it as well. And a picture in my mind, like this is something Richard Beaumont taught me, and it turned out to be very true for me. Um, if I get all frustrated, or that energy that you're talking about gets like stuck inside me, I just need to take my watch off and then bang my hand or my fist on a countertop, like something solid, once or twice, and I go from like max frustration to like to zero. It's like,
Interesting.
and I thought that was really specific that he said that, but it totally worked for me. And I've been asking some other folks to try it out. Um, my wife has the 3410 and the 5710, so she doesn't complete the 20. And so when I was experimenting with that, I was expecting her to have the same result. She just didn't. So it definitely seems to be something with that 3420. And if you're just freaking out inside, just 1, maybe 2 pounds on a hard surface, and the energy just leaves my body. It's just gone, and I can
Wow.
get back to like that natural self again, right? My non-emotional self. So Justin's got
Hmm.
that. So I wonder. I mean, these leaders are always pounding tables, right? Like, or pounding their whatever wherever they're on. It'd be interesting to go back and see if he does that as part of his sort of style, and whether he even knows that he's um, helping himself balance by doing that.
Did Richard Beaumont, he has the channel of charisma, right? Or no? I can't
Beaumont?
remember. Yeah.
I don't remember. We had some similar circuitry for sure.
I could be
Some.
wrong. I can't remember. But I wonder, I guess that's a specific to the 3420 energy or something.
Mm-hmm,
And maybe even the open root, because like your pressure, your inability to handle pressure,
mm-hmm.
the root and the head. Like that. I have the root and I get driven crazy by the head. So I can't imagine having both open,
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Cool.
very cool.
How are we doing for time here? I think that feels like a good place to kind of let it go. I want to do this again, though. Would you come back and do this sometime?
Yeah, I love it.
Cool.
I love how the human design community goes, like how it's like our paths align and we just kind of like go together. It's because you'll have to watch my promo video that I'll be
That's releasing in
releasing
an
later
hour.
today.
Yeah.
Actually, that one I'll be live. I'll be talking about it, but then I'll push to the sales page, which you were nice enough to give me notes on that I've now changed and added a new video to it and whatnot. In the video, I talk, like I say, like, do you want to nerd out on your human design ahas, but have no one to turn to? It's like your husband is overhearing it. Like, and you explaining that you can't talk about human design in your house because it's so nerdy and they don't want to hear it anymore. Like, that's
Mhm.
exactly the energy that I'm describing, because it's just like you just like feel so alone in it, you know?
Yep.
So I get it. That's why we connected initially. It's fun. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Um,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I don't even have a little outro. So I'll just put on whatever this is. That'll be the first option. Um, thanks for playing. That was fun.
Awesome. Yeah,
See you.
thank you.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
day. See you. Bye.
See ya.
Oh.